1991, and he has been performing dawah ever since then. He has especially been working with the youth. He has written a few books, and he's also the founder of Muslim Youth Media. So please come join us in giving him a warm welcome to Sheikh Abu Shahadah. Jazakumullah khair.
صار شيء كيف حال شيخ كيف حال شيخ؟ نعم صار شيء نعم عليكم الحمد لله. But there's some اختلاف with this one. But for me, what was confusing me was when the brother was saying, I'm like, I know I prayed.
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers, please note from tomorrow, the Iqamah for Salatul Asr will be 4 o'clock. Iqamah for Salatul Asr from tomorrow will be 4 o'clock. Jazakumullah khair.
Yeah, no, there's some khilaf. I don't know which madhab are you from? Strong. Yeah. Strong. I mean, strong. See, that's the thing, though, right? The three of the madhab say one thing. That's the Qawla Raja or the Qawla Majhur doesn't necessitate that, sometimes, the other side that has these people, they actually may have a strong dalil too. So, yeah, ala kulli hal. Yeah, inshallah. Okay. The salat is inshallah valid, inshallah. Yeah. On you guys at least. Yeah. On you guys at least. I might not be valid on it because you guys are following me, so. Anybody see any glasses? Glasses. I need those glasses, barakallah. Type. Naam. Tayyib. Those that are here, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana lihada wa ma kunna linahtadiya lawla an hadana Allah. Hamdin kathiran tayyiban mubarakin fi kama yuhibbu rabbuna wa yarda. Praise Allah tabarak wa ta'ala for allowing us to be here during this month of Ramadan. We ask Allah Jalla fi Ula to allow our brothers and sisters all over the world to remain safe. Make dua for them in every land that they're suffering. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And Ramadan al-Yawm, our topic for today is, it's deeper than just pulling out the bad weeds. It is deeper than just pulling out the bad weeds. So as you know, brothers and sisters, this is a month of rectification of the nafs, what they call tazkiyatun nufus. And we're finding, unfortunately, we're hearing across the city of Toronto, Muslims starting to smoke marijuana right after they break their fast. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. We are hearing that Muslims are smoking the hookah after Salatul Isha. Wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. You're fasting all day, but then later on, you don't even come to the masjid, you're out smoking your life away. So there are some important things, brothers and sisters, that I myself have come across, some of them recently and some of them over a period of time, which I really believe our ummah, this ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, us being the practitioners and the followers of him, there are some concepts that the ulama al-Rabbaniyun that they have put together concerning the issue of tazkiyat nafs and how important it is for an individual in his soul to come to grips. Why? Because it's our life's goal. I want you guys to etch this out. If you get anything out of this, those that are listening, it is our life's goal to clean our soul before we meet Allahu Rabbul Izzah. This is one of the ultimate goals. So the first topic, inshallah ta'ala, there's 5 of them. We're going to briefly say them and then we're going to go through them in depth, inshallah ta'ala. The first one is the concept, what is known as a tasfiyah. Say a tasfiyah. A tasfiyah is the structure of the sanitation and the purification, which deals with one's belief, their i'tiqad, their desires, their hawa, and their niyyah. And because, ya akhwani, we consume so much stuff on the social media, we're finding that, unfortunately, many bad things are coming into the psyche of the Muslim. Perfect case and example. Muslims fighting during the month of Ramadan. I've seen it so many times. Case in point. Muslims not fasting. I'm not talking about the sisters. I'm talking about the brothers in the month of Ramadan. So it shows you, Akhwan, that the effect of what comes into the mind can distort the mind. Number 2, the issue of, and this is where it's really important, this is what the masajid and the parents are supposed to teach, the issue of a tarbiyah. It is to raise and to nurture and to develop gradually and to cultivate step by step. We're going to give you all the explanation of this. It's quite extensive. These are concepts that the Muslims need to incorporate into practicing their Islam. Number 3, a tazkiyah. This is the whole point of the month of Ramadan. When you come out of Ramadan, when I come out of Ramadan, it is hoped, it is prayed that we come out of Ramadan better than we were yesterday, better than we were today. So it comes to purifying and cleansing and growing and purifying the soul from what? Sins. The Muslims, how many sins do we have as Muslims? There's too many to count. Then you have, and this is where our lecture gets the name from, the issue, what is known as, and if you ask the vast majority of Muslims, the first 3, some of us we've heard about. Only about a week ago, I heard only about the first 3. Recently, I heard about these next 2. This is why I wanted to share this particular class with the brothers and sisters, because this is an essential component of practicing Islam, is the issue of takhliyah, which is to remove what is weakening you, all the bad habits, all the bad distractions, and to end the cycles, not just to reset them. So, unfortunately, some Muslims after Ramadan, they press reset, this might include me, may Allah help me, may Allah help you. We reset for a while, and then we come back to our bad habits, our distractions, and so on and so forth. We fall into having bad company, bad people around us. Things that drain our soul, ya ikhwan. Things that drain our soul. So for instance, backbiting. The Muslims, they backbite all the time. And unfortunately, sometimes, ya ikhwan, there's necessary backbiting. If someone's doing something wrong, there's a time and there's a place, and it has its mawadi', it has its examples for that. Also, ya ikhwan, and this is the point after Ramadan. After we remove things, then we have to do something called tahliyah, which is to bring, ya ikhwan, and display the motivation to beautify ourselves after the month of Ramadan. So we're talking about structural beautification of our soul and our self and our character. So this is the beginning of the class, brothers and sisters. Those that benefit, inshallah ta'ala, maybe those that aren't here, they're benefiting. Maybe those are online, they're benefiting. So as for the first one, we find that the ulama al-rabbaniyun, they have classified this as one of the most important things. At-tasfiyah, 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 as one of my sheikhs used to say. Purifying the religion for Allah alone, to purify it for Allah alone. You don't go anywhere, you don't say anything, you don't act how you want, you only try to have the best behavior, best manners, best words, everything for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when it comes to that, Allah ta'ala goes on to say, فَعْبُدُ اللَّهِ مُخْلِصًا لَهُ الدِّينَ عَلَى لِلَّهِ الدِّينَ الْخَالِصِ. Allah ta'ala goes on to say, so worship Allah, making the religion purely for Allah, not for your country, not for your sheikh, not for your madhab, not for your city, not for anything else except that you do things only lillahi tabarak ta'ala. Also, Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, وَمَا أُمِرُوا إِلَى لِيَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ الدِّينَ. He said, Muhammad sallallahu ya ikhwan, he was only ordered to worship Allah and to make the religion sincerely for Allah. When you fast, are you fasting for your parents? No, you're fasting for Allah. When you're giving, are you giving for your parents or your grandparents? No, you're giving only for Allah. When you give the salam, are you giving salam because somebody's from your cultural country and he speaks the same language as you, or you're giving salam because of their religion and it's only for Allah? This is a serious thing. Me, I've been Muslim now for 35 years, and we're finding, ya ikhwan, and I've seen this too many times to count, people, they don't want to give me the salam, or they're hesitant to give the salam because I'm not from their country. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And then one of their countrymen comes up and right away, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And they respond. So now the question comes, when you give salam to your brother, or if a brother offers salams to you, you're saying to him, you're safe from me. There will be no hardship or fighting or any kind of problem like that. I'm making dua that as-salam Allah, he puts his sakina and he puts his salam upon you. And imagine you're a Muslim, you don't return the salams. Allah says in chapter 4, verse 86, that you have to respond to the salam. Also, Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, هو الذي بعث في أميين رسولا منهم يتلو عليهم آياته يزكيهم إلى آخره. He it is who has sent among the unlettered a messenger from themselves, reciting to them his verses, purifying them and teaching them the book and the wisdom. Teaching them the book and the wisdom. And this is where the issue of fiqh or fahm comes in our religion. Many people, mashallah, tabarakallah, they recite really well, but in terms of what is going down, what they're digesting, what they're ingesting, the understanding sometimes, it is batila, it is fasida, it is corrupt. So when we look at the situation, each Ramadan, we need to get better, we need to have better manners, better adab. And when we look at the situation, what is known as it is gradual tadarruj, step by step by step by step. A little baby, when it's born, we don't give the baby steak and potatoes. First start off suckling the mother suckles the baby, and then after maybe about a year or two, then you give the baby some potatoes or some sweet potatoes or some peas or something like that. over a period of time, you slowly nurture the baby, and then eventually the baby becomes a young adolescent or a young toddler, and then you start to give them better food. So we find, ya ikhwan, that Aisha, radiallahu anha, bint Abu Bakr, she said, and this is an example here showing tadarruj, that if the first thing revealed had been do not drink alcohol to the Arabs at that time, they would have said, we will never leave alcohol. The first commandment came to the Arabs at the time, don't drink alcohol, instead of worship Allah and be good to your parents. Read. Whatever other good commandments came before that, if the first commandment would have said, don't drink alcohol, the Arabs would have ran away. So they had to learn Islam over a period of time, what is halal and what is haram. So this shows, ya ikhwan, that a tarbiyah is gradually cultivation, not dumping rulings without preparation. So this is what we're going to talk about, tasfiyah and tarbiyah, and how they come together, as some of our Sheikh, they went on to explain. And this is why, ya ikhwan, when you're dealing with the people, and this is the thing, ya ikhwan, how to deal with the people, how to talk to the people, how to sit down with the people, how to show a good set of manners to the people. So you become what they call a people magnet. Are you easy to deal with? Are you hard to deal with? Is your face smiling when you meet your brother? Are you rough? Are you tough? Are you Billy Goat gruff? That's what he used to say. The Prophet went on to say, Yassiru, wala tu'assiru, wa bashiru, wala tunafiru. Make things easy and do not make things difficult. Give the glad tidings and do not drive the people away. Do not push the people away. And unfortunately, ya ikhwan, I was in the city of Toronto yesterday where we had a youth program, and some of the young brothers, mashallah, they had very beautiful thobes on, very young, maybe 22, 23, 24, mashallah, looked like Islam just came back into their life. Beautiful, pressed, white thobe. I never seen a thobe so white in my life for some of these brothers. Pressed. They looked good, they smelled good, but how they dealt with the people, and there's a bunch of little kids around, I heard them using profanity. I heard them disrespecting their elders. I heard them questioning authority. And I was like, what kind of Islam is this? You have the clothing of Islam, mashallah, tabarakallah, in Ramadan, which is a good thing. You look good. Mashallah, you smell good. These are good things. But the manners that I observed, and I said to one of my friends later on, I said, what's going on? What's going on with these kids? He said, brother, they're new to Islam. They just started back practicing. Either they're new to Islam or they just started practicing Islam. So you can imagine you're amongst Muslims in Ramadan and they're using profanities. Do you know what profanities are? Do you know what profanities are? Saying bad words, swearing, okay? So this is something, ya ikhwan, ya akhawati, that Allahu tabarak ta'ala, He told on the tongue, ya ikhwan, when Musa was talking to Pharaoh, he said, فَقَوْلًا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. Okay? He said, and speak to Pharaoh gently. لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرَ أَوْ يَخْشَى. Perhaps he may take heed or fear admonition. So here's the point. One of those young kids that was swearing, I gave him the salam. It took him a minute or two to return my salam. I'm holding his hand. He's like, brother, you just came and you gave me the salam. I was talking to someone. I said, yeah, but I'm giving you salam. I'm coming in peace. And then I said to him, brother, you know, there's a time to be street. When you're in the street, there's street talk, right? People, they talk to you in the street a certain way. And then there's neat talk. You have a bunch of young kids around, you're wearing a nice thobe. They're going to hear you say some bad words. So what were some of the words that he said? He called somebody a bad name, like a cow. He called somebody a bad name that starts with an N, and some other bad names that he called. Right? So can you imagine, this is the month of Ramadan, and people are saying things that aren't good for the soul. So this is the issue, brothers. So that is dealing with the issue of tasfiyah. So now we go to more in depth of a tarbiyah. Tarbiyah comes from the Arabic root rabbawa, rababab, which carries the meaning of nurturing. Think of the times your mom spent time, right? Looking after you, bathing you, feeding you, dressing you, teaching you with patience and good manners. This is from the nurturing of tarbiyah. It is cultivating how you dress yourself, how you brush your teeth, how she cut your nails. So when you go out to the world, you are presentable. So this is developed gradually. So raising something stage by stage until it reaches completion. This is the point. Are we full individuals with the proper soul? And as you know, when you study the Quran, it goes into different levels, different stages of the soul's transformation. Something that I'm working on right now. Me as an individual, I'm studying this. It's a very deep, interesting study. Inshallah ta'ala, maybe when I finish my publication, we'll come on that because I did that first for myself. Okay? If you guys would have met me 35 years ago, you wouldn't have wanted to be around a guy like me. Okay? I was very abstinent, very arrogant, very mean. You know, you catch me on the wrong day, you might catch one of these going across your jaw. But Islam brought me away from all of that and showed me what manners can make a person excel to the highest level of spirituality. So when you look at it, to raise a child, to nurture and to care for something, to develop something step by step until it matures. First, you are a baby, then you become a little boy, then you become a teenager, then you become a man, then you become a adult, then you become maybe a father, then maybe become a grandfather. So you're supposed to go through all these levels, and each of these levels you're supposed to get smarter, wiser, better, until you become a beautiful person. So a parent, ya akhwani, ya akhwati, giving tarbiyah to a child. A teacher giving tarbiyah to the students, how they teach the kids. And alhamdulillah, I've been able to meet some young students, and I asked them, is your Sheikh so-and-so? They go, how do you know? I say, because you have his exact same mannerisms, exact same behavior. MashaAllah, it's like a carbon copy. The good from the Sheikh went from him to his student. Also, the farmer who nurtures their plants until they grow. Has anybody ever been to the farm before and see how the farmer spends hours watering, cultivating, tidying, fixing, so his flock or his crop can become nice and beautiful for us to benefit from? We just go to the grocery store and we see all the beautiful vegetables and we take the vegetables and we just put it right into our bag, we pay the price and we go down the road. We don't even think about the process of how the vegetable got to us. The care, the need, the time, the consideration. This is something that just goes over our head, and unfortunately, us being human beings, we don't worry on how things got to us. We just want to benefit from it, unfortunately. But there's a lot of time, care, consideration in getting our food prepped. Also, brothers and sisters, considering this topic here, gradually nurturing a person upon the correct belief. What they call is Aqidah as-Sahiha, the proper belief system. So this includes, number one, the most important thing in a Muslim's life, at-Tawheed. Number two, building Iman, building your Iman. Number two, correcting the manners, Islah al-Akhlaqi. Also, the training of the soul. This is so important. I just fell in love with this topic that I started to do some deep research, and I realized that I need to start to work on it as I'm getting older. Where is my biggest goal? Is to go back and to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then there is, ya ikhwan, the tarbiyah that is found in the Quran. The Quran is our greatest nurturer. Reading the Quran, from reading it, you're not supposed to have bad manners. This is why Imam Suyuti, rahimahullah, wa rahmatun wasiya, and Imam al-Nawawi, wa ghayruhum, and many other ulama, they wrote books called At-Tibyan Hamalatul Quran. The clarity on the one who is carrying the Quran on his back. I want to ask you, brothers, should the Hafiz be somebody who steals money from the masjid? No. Should the Hafiz be somebody who swears? No. Should the Hafiz of Quran be somebody who smokes marijuana? No. Should the Hafiz of Quran do some deplorable things that lands him in the jail? No. So these are some of the things that unfortunately have happened. And I know numerous examples of people who have memorized the Quran, but the Quran didn't have an impact on their mannerisms. May Allah save us. So when we look at the situation, a tarbiyah, where does it stem from? Where do we get this from? The ulama, they extract from this, what they call istinbat or istiqra, the concept based on the ayah chapter 17, verse 24. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, وَقُوا رَبِّي أَرْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صغيرا. My Lord, my Lord, have mercy upon them, meaning my parents, as they raised me when I was small. O Allah, have mercy upon my parents as they raised me when I was small. Ya Akhwani, this is so important, Ya Akhwani. I can't tell you how important it is. My mother now, she's reached a very old age now where she's struggling to bathe herself. So me and my sister, this is our responsibility. Try to wash my mother so she can have a bath. And Ya Akhwan, she started to cry just last weekend. And she's like, my children are bathing me. We said, Mom, you used to bathe us. There's no problem with us bathing you. And this is ibadah for me, brothers. I like to give dawah. I like to talk in the street. I like to make money. I like to travel. But there is nothing under the sun in this dunya that's more important than looking after my mother. If my mother was to call me right now and say, look, I need you up here, even if they said the Sheikh al-Islam is coming to the Masjid Farooq and he's going to come here, I would say, MashaAllah, may Allah bless the Sheikh, but my mother is more important than the Sheikh al-Islam. I got to go and visit my mom. Why? Because she put everything she could in me in her lifetime. So this is really important. So what did I learn from my mother? I learned ta'aleem. She gave me lots of information. She gave me tarbiyah. She built me as a person. So when you see me, the good of from my mother and maybe some of the bad from my mother, because my mom wasn't born in a Muslim family. She took her Shahadah, but she's not well. She has Alzheimer's. So one of the things she taught me was patience and to do things over and over again, repetition. Why? Because my personal development is a part of how my mother and my father raised me. And this is one of the things, Ya Akhwan, that sometimes, and I get phone calls every now and then, that parents are complaining about how bad their children are. And I ask them, well, how often is the father around? And so the father, he's working so long, he never gets time to spend time with his boys. So there's no male masculine role model who will teach these kids on how to be good individuals, people with good humanity, quote unquote, good citizens. So when we look at the situation, my brothers and sisters, tarbiyah takes time, patience, repetition, and personal development. So scholars explain that tarbiyah is learning the correct belief, and on top of that, and here's the point. Many brothers, they quote this or they've heard this before, al-amalu bih, to act according to the knowledge that you have obtained. Ad-da'watu alayhi, which is what I'm trying to do right now, is calling others to it. I'm calling others to these things we're going to explain. We didn't get to the last two, which I'm sure if you're not born in Arab, when you hear the word to the Arab, it makes sense a little bit so they can understand. But to the non-Arab, it just goes over the head. The next one is as-sabr al-adha fihi, being patient upon the harm. It's not just lectures, it's transformation and implementation. I can remember one time, one of my sheikhs, rahmatullahi alayhi, may Allah have mercy upon him, he passed away. He was a giant in the dawah in my community. And one of the things he used to always say, and he used to quote so many quotations. He quote from the Quran, he quote from the hadith, he quote from the scholars, he quote from the fuqaha, he quote from the madahib. And the people would be sitting there and they're impressed with his ability to quote. And then he realized after a while, he started asking some questions to the students. And when he asked them the questions, they were sitting in front of him because at that time it was cool to be seen in the class with the sheikh. Maybe you might get married. Maybe the sister's father that you're trying to impress, he's sitting right there. So you would sit in the class. When the sheikh would ask a question to the students, sitting there for an hour, he used to say, I'm worried about the absorption of the knowledge. What are the students really picking up? And this is what, inshallah ta'ala, he taught us, is being a good teacher is being good to the students by asking them questions and seeing if they retain the information that they got. So Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah, rahmatan wasi'ah, one of the great scholars known as the heart doctor, he said that the child is entrusted to his parents, his heart is pure like a blank jewel or a blank slate. If he is accustomed to good, he grows upon it. And if he is accustomed to evil, he grows upon it. This is in Tuhfatul Mawdu. So Ibn Qayyim rahmatullah alayhi, ya ikhwan, he left us so many antidotes, ya ikhwan. And really, the ummah, I don't think that we're going to make the ummah better until we first start with ourselves. As I can remember one time, there was a scientist who was doing a practical social experiment with some youth, and he said, here is a picture, showed them a picture of the world. And then he took that picture and he cut it up into maybe 50 pieces, and he took it like this and he threw it on the ground. Right? So, as you can see, all the pieces, they're all distorted. But on the back side of the magazine where this particular picture was, there was a picture of a man. So he came back after 20 minutes, and the kids, they put it back together 100%. And they glued it back together, or they taped it back together. And this is the point that I got that was so beneficial, so powerful. The kids, when they're asked, how did you put the picture of the globe back together? They said it was easy. He was shocked. How could 9-year-old kids put this together? He said, well, they flipped back over the paper that was like this, and they said, well, we figured out that if we put the man back together on the other side of the paper, then we can put the world back together on the other side. So you can imagine a PhD professor, high level intellect, was gobsmacked by these youth. They taught the professor a very valuable lesson. His mouth went down. So this has to do with the tarbiyah that the students were getting from the Sheikh. He put them critical thinking skills. So we have another quotation of Imam Shafi or Imam Malik. Imam Malik, he went on to say, my mother prepared me for knowledge and say, go to Sheikh Rabi'a. This is the Sheikh from the past, long, long, long ago, and learn from his manners before you learn from his knowledge. Learn from the Sheikh's manners before you learn from the Sheikh's knowledge. This is so important, right? Meaning how to implement the knowledge. So you get the knowledge, for instance, speak to the people with good manners. Imagine, ya ikhwani, I remember one time I went to go see one sheikh and I deemed that he made a mistake. And I went to him with the best manners and I pulled him to the side. I said, yeah, sheikh, I think, such and such, so and so, da da da, based on the hadith. And I pulled him away from the people. The sheikh at that time, you know what he said? How dare you advise me? I know the Arabic language and I'm a sheikh. How dare you advise me? He made a big loud voice in front of all the people, so everybody turned. It was a private affair, but then he made it a public affair. I went to him with privacy, with a concern, right? And the problem with the sheikh, may Allah guide him and guide us, he's still alive and he's much older now, much wiser now. He didn't understand the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this is where we got to go back to the basics. The Prophet went on to say, ad-din al-nasiha, ad-din al-nasiha, ad-din al-nasiha. He said it 3 times. He said that this religion, it is sincere advice. He said it 3 times. He said, the companions of the Prophet wanted to say, Liman, Ya Rasulullah, qala lillahi wa li kitabihi wa li rasulihi wa a'immatu muslimin wa ammatihim. The Prophet went on to say that this religion, and I think all of us, we need to understand this hadith, and this is where fahm comes in, that this religion, it is sincere to Allah. We have to be sincere to Allah. We have to be sincere to the book of Allah. And we have to be sincere to practicing the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. Lillahi wa li kitabihi wa li rasulihi. The word nasiha here now takes a different meaning when it comes now to being sincere to Allah, His Messenger, and His book. And then it says, a'immatu muslimin wa ammatihim. Another riwayah which is a little bit weak, wa khasatihim. That you have to be giving sincere advice to the leaders and to the common folk. So that means the leaders can get sincere advice. I am more knowledgeable than you. I speak Arabic better than you. Sheikh, I came to you with nice manners. should have asked me, brother, mashallah, barakallah fiqh, thank you for the nasiha. Thank you for considering advising me in private. But unfortunately, sometimes, and may Allah save us all, the ego stunts our growth. So Imam Shafi, rahmatullah alayhi, went on to say, may Allah help me and help you with this. Whoever seeks knowledge without discipline, whoever seeks knowledge without discipline, it corrupts more than it rectifies. It corrupts more than it rectifies. Whoever seeks ilm without discipline, it corrupts more than it rectifies. Meaning, you need to fix your house before you can call others. Yeah, this is so important. And I can remember one time I was sitting with one of my sheikhs a long time ago. We were having a discussion, and he made an observation, and it was, a sincere observation. We had seen another brother who had lots of knowledge, and mashallah, he spent lots of time overseas. He learned a lot. His Arabic got better. He could quote a lot. Mashallah, tabarakallah. But when we looked at how the brother's children were practicing Islam, the males and the females, and then we looked at the sheikh, we're like, well, there's some type of problem going on right here because his household is not in order. So he's going to come and preach to us. Anybody can preach, but do you practice what you preach? And is your family following you and you're preaching? So this is one of the things, brothers. We need to reprimand ourselves first and foremost, meaning you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself. So this is tarbiyah. So everybody, they've heard about tasfiyah, they've heard about tarbiyah. Now we're going to go to tazkiyah, which we all know. And this is something in the Quran which everybody reads it all the time, but it's a reminder for us. And this is where the lecture is based upon, ya ikhwan. وقال الله تعالى ونفس وما سواها فألحمها فجورها وتقواها قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. And by the soul, and he who proportioned it, and by the soul, and he who proportioned it, meaning Allah, and inspired it either with wickedness and or righteousness. So you have good souls. And they did a study, some of the psychologists, they had twins, and sometimes there was triplets. And we're talking Muslims here, one of the twins was very religious, same DNA as his twin. The other twin was not religious at all, very bad, doing bad haram things, right? And this can even happen in the society. You have a good twin and a bad twin, right? So this is the thing. The ayah goes on to talk about, and by the soul, and he who proportioned it. We're talking about higher level sciences here. And inspired it with wickedness. Muslims, as you've seen just last week or 2 weeks ago, unfortunately, right here in the city of Mississauga. Shame. It's a shame. It's embarrassing. Muslims caught up in human trafficking. Right here in Mississauga, 3 Muslim names were put on CP24 just last week involved in human trafficking. So, and he inspired it with wickedness. What is more wicked than human trafficking, Yahweh? And he inspired it either or with righteousness. Then Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, he has succeeded, purifies this proportionate soul. So the end game is you're going back to meet Allah Azza wa Jalla, and is your soul, is it ready to meet Allah? This is in Surah Al-Shams, chapter 91, verse 7 to 10, those ayats. Also in Surah Al-A'la, Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, قَدْ أَفْلَهَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. These verses, we recite them, and the kids can recite them. But do we unpack it and see what it's meaning? What's the understanding of these ayat? Are we reading the translation in whatever our mother tongue is so we can get the concepts? This is one of the things, ya ikhwan. My background is in Usul al-Din, Usul al-Iman, and I'tiqad al-Din. These are my levels of strength and what I've flourished in and studying in my lifetime as a Muslim. All for the other science of Islam, I've not mastered them. But in terms of Usul al-Din, alhamdulillah, I got a pretty good understanding of it. I'tiqad al-Din, mashallah, I've read more than 80 aqidas. And mashallah, Usul al-Iman, we're still trying to practice it. Qawlin wa amalan wa i'tiqad. So when we look at the situation, Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, he or she has certainly succeeded who purifies him or herself. You've succeeded. You've won the game. If you're able to purify your soul, you've won the game. And Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, and mention the name of your Lord and establish the prayer. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We have to make our salat, we have to make our dhikr, we have to make our adhkar. Allah Ta'ala is going to say, Yatlu alaykum ayatina yuzakikum. These ayats, we hear them. But what is it calling us to? Is it just a recitation with no meaning, no practice, no understanding? Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, He recites to you our verses and He purifies you. He recites our verses to you and He purifies you. This shows that the Prophet ﷺ was sent to teach and to purify the believers. The Quran that we have that we're reciting, it's there to mend our hearts. It was sent to the best person that ever walked the earth, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, al-Mustafa, Abu Qasim, as-Sadiq, wal-Masduq. All of these are some of the names the Prophet ﷺ, and he has more than that, showing his attributes and his sifat, that this Quran was sent to him and he came to call humanity to follow him with this. So, Yahwan, this once again is our life goal, to purify the soul. Before you go into that lahad, that ground, our goal is to purify the soul. Not to get a big house, not to get a fancy car, not to get a PhD, not to get a beautiful wife or a handsome husband with lots of muscles. These are good things, they're not haram things. But the end of the goal before you go into the ground is to try to clean your soul up. And this is what month of Ramadan is a reminder for. Qala Allah Ta'ala. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يُزَكِّي مَن يَشَاءُ. But Allah purifies whom He wills, and it is the ultimate purification is from Allah, ya ikhwan. Allah, He purifies who He wills. So I have family members that are Yahudi. I have family members that are in the Native American religion. I have family members that are Christian. I have family members that are Rastafarian. I have family members that are Shinto. I have family members that are atheists. I have family members that are on all other types of adyan, other types of so-called deeds. But it is only Allah that decides to guide whom He wills. مَا يَهْدِهِ اللَّهُ فَلَا مُضِلَّ لَهُ وَمَا يُضْلِلْ فَلَا هَادِيَ لَهُ. As we hear it every week in the Jummah prayer. قال الله تعالى وَمَنْ تَزَكَّى فَإِنَّمَا يَتَزَكَّى لِنَفْسِهِ أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بك أدخل بالسلام. Brothers, just trying to get into the masjid, may Allah help him. Allah Ta'ala goes on to say, and whoever purifies himself, he only purifies or he benefits himself. By me working on myself can benefit the people by having good manners. But at the end of the day, when I go into that ground, there's no more playing around. Nobody can do any more good deeds for me, ya ikhwani. So we ask Allah that He purifies me and He purifies you. So all of these three things, I know that, many of the Muslims, they've heard about tasfiyah, they've heard about at-tarbiyah, they've heard about at-tazkiyah. Now we're going to go and we're going to talk about the things that I'm pretty sure that the Muslims never heard about. I just learned these things after 35 years ago. I just learned about these things. So it is a reminder for myself and for my brothers, and this is where we start the lecture. That was all the introduction. The name of the lecture is, it is deeper than pulling out bad weeds. Yeah, ikhwan. There's bad weeds amongst us. We're talking about the hearts, ya ikhwan. We're talking about the souls, ya ikhwan. So the Arabic word, and here's the new word, at-takhliya. It is removing and cleaning and emptying. This is the word takhliya. To remove something, to clear something, to empty something. So the root is khalawa, which relates to being empty or free from something. Now here comes the parables, here comes the antidotes for us to do what the scholars they call at-taqrib al-ma'na. At-taqrib al-ma'na is to bring a concept that is far, to bring it close to us to understand. So if we didn't understand the word, then inshallah ta'ala we're going to understand the concept. So this is from the spiritual concept. It is the Islamic purification of the soul. Takhliya means removing bad traits from the heart. From amongst the bad traits of the heart, and I was discussing with a good friend of mine the other day, and we're discussing an individual, and the issue came up, and I said, well, some people say that this brother has what is known as the green-eyed monster. You can Google this. This is a concept in North America for those that are new to America, Canada. The green-eyed monster basically is someone who suffers from the illness of envy and jealousy. That they're just upset that you got a new car. They're just upset that you got married. They're just upset. They're jealous that you got a new job. They're just upset that you're winning and they're losing in life. This is known as the green-eyed monster. So these are things we have to try. If we have them in us, we need to rid ourselves from them. So basically, it is removing the bad traits from the heart, like arrogance, like envy, like showing off. And it is often paired with, ya ikhwan, and the next part we're going to talk about is at-tahliya, which is this next one after. So the scholars go on to say, at-tahliya qabla al-tahliya, that removing evil before adorning with good, this is what we have to do. And I'm going to break down the concept a little bit more. So first of all, clearing something out and emptying the space, letting something go. All right, so here's the breakdown. At-tahliya, removing the blameworthy traits like envy, arrogance, showing off, and greed. Some people are very greedy. I went to an iftar just the other day. There's a whole bunch of brothers lining up for food. And we watched one brother put 4 pieces, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 pieces of chicken. MashaAllah for this brother. He's been fasting all day, alhamdulillah. And there's like another 100 brothers waiting. And I'm looking at it and I'm trying to calculate. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, maybe there's 100 pieces of chicken in that bowl right there. And that brother just took 4. This is real-time stuff. That man was hungry or greedy. So wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Also, he compares the heart to a land. And the famous book, Ya Ikhwan, which is a masterpiece, and I think they just translated a portion of it. The book is called Madarij al-Salikin, which is those who transverse, Ya Ikhwan. Imam Ibn Qayyim, he went on to say that the heart must be empty, takhliya, from the attachment to other than Allah. The heart must be empty from the detachment from anything other than Allah. Why are you doing your actions? How are you doing your actions, as one of my Sheikh used to say. So the Sheikh, he goes on to say that when this is filled with tahliyah, with the love of Allah, trust and tawakkul and sincerity. This is the next one we're going to go to in detail. So this is the emphasizing on how we correct what is known as the tazkiyat nafs. So first of all, tahliyah, removing corruption. Is there corruption in our heart? Is there jealousy in our heart? Is there racism in their heart? Right? So here's the point here, brothers. You remove corruption before building reform. So before this building here that we're standing in could be built, as you see, the structure is up now. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. May Allah allow this masjid to be ready very soon and complete. And may Allah bless all those that had a part in that. Before this building was built, that we're standing in and we see back there, before we could do anything, you see the beauty of the building, MashaAllah, tabarakallah, the structure of the building, or the skeleton of the building exists at one time. First of all, you had to dig deep in the ground, remove all the dirt, and then pour a solid foundation in it, and then you construct it on it, right? So you clear the foundation before constructing a structure. This is the point, brothers. You clear the foundation before constructing the structure. So now when it comes to us, as the Sheikh said earlier, that we are trying to build our nafs, build our nafus, build our akhlaq, build our personality. So you have to empty the container before filling it properly. This is mad science, as they call it. So, takhliya, removing something. So, guess what? I was in such a rush today. I had to run to the mechanic. I had to pick something up. I told my wife, don't worry, I'm going to do the dishes. Inshallah, don't worry. So when I get home, I had to run. I had to run around a lot, and I didn't get much sleep last night. So I said, let me get a little sleep. So when I go back home, guess what? Guess what's waiting for me? Dishes that I have to clean up, that I said I was going to clean up. But I didn't have time to clean up because I had to go to the mechanic and get something fixed with the car. Then I had to come over here. So how could I invite anybody over right now and cook them a meal when I myself didn't get a chance to clean everything up, right? And this is what we have to work on. We have to realize that we have to all clean up different things in our life. So now we are on the thing that everybody wants to talk about or they expect. So first we talked about a tasfiyah, then tarbiyah, then tazkiyah, then takhliyah, and this is the last one. Really important. This is the goal after Ramadan. So that's why the lecture is called It's More Deeper Than Pulling Out the Bad Weeds, which is takhliyah. We have to pull out the bad weeds in this month of Ramadan from our heart, from our manners, from our behavior. It's extremely important. If we fasted during the month of Ramadan and we didn't come out of Ramadan better than we were before, then inshallah ta'ala we made some big problems in our practicing of Islam. So ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make me better and to make you better and to make the Ummah Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam better. Ya Ikhwani, I can't tell you how many places I've been during this month of Ramadan. And the Muslims can clearly see that I'm Muslim. And they won't give me salam and I don't even know them. This is bad. You see a Muslim brother or you see a Muslim sister, you pass by them, and we're living in the land of the West, and we don't say, oh, Assalamu alaikum. No, there's none of that. We just walk past our brother, walk past our sister in the grocery store, maybe in the gym, in the library. You can clearly see somebody's a Muslim. And I pray at the library from time to time. There's some musallas there. And I see brothers all the time. And then finally, after 4 months, the brother, he said to me, oh, assalamu alaikum, I didn't know you're a Muslim. I'm like, you didn't know I was Muslim? Don't I look like a Muslim? Do I walk like a Muslim? Talk like a Muslim? What does a Muslim look like? Meaning I'm not from his culture. So therefore, I can't be a Muslim. I don't look like his people, meaning his home. So there's no way I could be a Muslim. And I asked the brother, what do Muslims look like? They only come from one country? Islam is only for one group of people, or is for the whole of mankind? Okay, so here we are. At the end, my friend. The Arabic word at-tahliyah comes from ha-la-ya, which relates to the sweetness and the adornment, basically meaning adorning and beautifying and embellishing and sweetening and decorating something good. It is the opposite of tahliyah, which means to empty and remove. So alhamdulillah, I decided today, I brought out this particular jubba or thobe that I bought last year. This is mashallah tabarakallah, my third time wearing it. I figured I'd come and wear this fancy thobe in front of my brothers. MashaAllah, they'll look at it and say, MashaAllah, may Allah give you one of these in the Jannah. Right? I haven't got any du'as or MashaAllah. So I tried to come here with tahliyah to beautify myself. Well, I'm saying, call Allah, call Rasulullah, antidotes from the scholars, right? Trying to look good, smell good. I don't dress like this every day. I put on my best dress while I'm saying Allah said, His Messenger said. Because the microphone, it has its rights. If I came up here looking disheveled, looking ugly, with rips in my clothes, if I came up here not dressed, I didn't shower before I come, you'd be like, who is this guy? Right? To begin with, when you're what they call a local joker, meaning you're from where you're from. I live right around the corner here. So people, they see me all the time. I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. Right? I'm not a global joker. I didn't come from some far off place, right? So anyways, I dressed up for you brothers so you can see me, mashallah tabarakallah. This is tahliyah. I dressed up nice. This is from our religion. So when we look at this, scholars of purification, tazkiyat al-nafs or tazkiyat al-nafus, they often mention tahliyah, removing sins, bad traits, shirk, innovations, and arrogance. Tahliyah is adorning oneself with good traits like monotheism, at-tawheed, which is haqqullah ala abid or ibad, that is worshiping Allah alone. This is our right is to worship Allah alone. Also, ikhlas and niyyah. Is there anybody here that can look into the heart of anybody and see if they're mukhlis or not, or they're sincere? We think maybe, you know, وَرَزَقِ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا لَسَبَهُ maybe our brother, maybe we deem him from what we've seen from the outside, he's a sincere guy, she's a sincere sister. But we don't know. We can't look into the hearts. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, amongst the Prophet ﷺ, and the angel Gabriel came and told him who were the hypocrites amongst the ranks. Someone with a beard and a thobe and a dress and a mama was walking amongst the Muslims in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and only the Prophet ﷺ, he knew because the angel Gabriel told him, oh, that guy's a munafiq, that guy's a munafiq. And the Prophet ﷺ went and he told Hudayfa, the trusted confidant, who were the munafiqeen in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So they looked good, mashallah, blended in with the Arabs at that time, but what's in their heart, only Allah knows, right? So when Prophet ﷺ passed away, Abu Bakr passed away, Umar al-Khattab, he knew that Hudayfa knew the names of the hypocrites. And he commanded him, I am Amir Mu'mineen. I command you to tell me the names of the hypocrites. And Hudayfa said, no, I'm sworn to secrecy. I cannot tell you. So then, here is the thing, ya ikhwan. This is the litmus test. No matter who you see giving a lecture anywhere, they can't do better than Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh. He said, okay. Did the Prophet ﷺ mention me? Did he mention me? This is the point that we're talking about, self-development. Did he mention me amongst those that were from the hypocritical people, the munafiqun? Did the Prophet ﷺ mention me, Umar ibn Khattab, from amongst those that were the hypocrites? Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu was worried that these things that we're talking about, that he wasn't sure 100%, that he had some little bit of worry, concern, ya ikhwan. This is why he asked Hudayfa. So then, as the story goes on to say, Umar Khattab, when anybody passed away, Umar Khattab would look out to see, did Hudayfa come out to the janazah today? If Hudayfa radiallahu anh, if he came out to the janazah today, then I'm going to pray over that person. If Hudayfa didn't come out from his house to the janazah, Umar wouldn't go. This is serious, brothers. So, Tahliyah is emptying from the evil, and Tahliyah is adorning with the good. So some scholars, they have this phrase, Tahliyah qabla Tahliyah. Tahliyah qabla Tahliyah. Ya ikhwan, I just learned this last week. Clean up the stove before you start to cook. So I can't go home and cook a meal until I clean up my kitchen. I can't invite people over to my house unless my house is clean. How can you invite people to do business with you or to get to know you when you haven't cleaned up yourself? So here we go again. Simple example. That's why the scholars, they give us taqreeb al-ma'na. Distant things, you bring them close through examples. Amthala, daraba. Think of a cup. Remove the dirt. So if you were to come to my house and I gave you an old cup and you could see there's some food particles on you, and I took the juice out and I poured it in, you say, here you go, brother, bismillah. Would you drink it? Okay, me and my mom, we went to a restaurant maybe, 2-3 months ago. Okay, and this is my mom's favorite restaurant. I took her to it, and the lady came and brought us 2 sodas, 2 pops. And I asked the lady, when she gave it to me, I called her back. I go, can I get a new cup? And she looked at me, why? And I said, can I get a new cup? I was trying to be nice, right? I didn't want to make a scene in front of all the people because there's other people there, right? And she was like shocked. I turned the cup. I said, somebody put some lipstick here on this cup here. Imagine, the cup has lipstick on it, it has ice in it, and it had ginger ale in it, and that cup was given to me. Who would drink that? So I didn't make a scene. It's an oversight on her part. Maybe, who knows? Maybe she doesn't like the color of my people. I don't know. I can't look into the hearts. I just kindly said, oh, excuse me, ma'am. Is it possible, I'm using my best English, is it possible that I could get another cup? Because this cup has lipstick on it. So this is tahliyah, right? So when it comes to the root ha la ya, which relates to jewelry, huliya, jewelry, beauty, hulwa, sweetness. So linguistically, it means to adorn something with something beautiful or valuable. In Arabic, you might say tahliyatul ta'am, sweetening the food. Sweetening the food. My mother, she likes sugar so much. She's a sugar craving person. So I gave her last week a Tim Hortons hot chocolate, and I told the lady, add one sugar. My mother, she's 80 years old. So when I gave that to her on the ride back, she's drinking it. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this tastes delicious. Oh, I sweetened it up for her because I know if I didn't get that extra sugar in it, she'd just take one sip because her throat was sore from the cold, and she would put it down and say, I don't like that. So the taste to her, the sweetness to her, it matters. So imagine, one of my sheikhs, alhamdulillah, maybe 25 years ago, maybe 27 years ago, I would have been only 6, 7 years in Islam. He seen me do something wrong in the masjid. He seen me do something wrong, and I did something wrong. So he gave me salams, he sat me down, he went like this. How are you doing, brother? How is everything? How is your mother? How is your father? How is your kids? Are you working? Do you have a job? Is everything okay? Are you driving? Do you have a car? He asked me all these personal questions to see where my head was at, to see where my emotions were at. And after I said, yeah, alhamdulillah, I'm doing good, Sheikh, mashallah, everything is good, alhamdulillah. Yes, I have a job. Yes, I have a car. Yes, everybody's good, alhamdulillah. Then the Sheikh, he squeezed my hand a little bit tight, not too tight. And then he reprimanded me. Brother, don't do this, don't do that. It's not good. The Prophet said this, such and such and so and so. So his methodology up until today, how he talked to me, he first did some serious, what we call, ya ikhwan, intelligence work. He went to find out how I'm doing first as a person before he could give me the medicine of the Quran and the Sunnah. He wanted to know, am I in my right mind? Is everything okay up there? Are you all right? Okay, here, take this medicine now. Imagine if it would have came to me, brother, what are you doing, Aki? Stock for Allah, brother. Aki, are you Jahil? Brother, what are you doing? Are you a new Muslim, brother? What's going on? How dare you do this? And I've seen people behave like this with people that are new to Islam. That, to me, from where I come from, that's fighting language, right? But the Sheikh took the time. And this is where the Murabbi comes in. The Murabbi is the nurturer. The Sheikh tried to win my heart. Alifun nas, winning my heart first, and then a'rifu. Then he raised my awareness. So this, he beautified his da'wah with tahliya, ya ikhwan. This is the most important thing, ya ikhwan. Do we care about the people? And it's a struggle because I'm telling you, this city, and when you go out onto the highway, you'll be driving down the road and somebody will cut off you. And then they'll show some finger things to you like, what did I do? You cut me off. Why are you showing me fingers for? Why are you showing me your so-called gang signs? I got other gang signs I can show you too, right? And if you catch somebody on the wrong day, you might get a response that's not befitting of a Muslim. Someone cuts you off. Now, maybe you cut me off. Okay. Now you cut me and I got my kids in the car, or my wife in my car, or my mother in the car. That's the time I should be a little bit more patient. But imagine someone's trying to run you off the road because they don't see you out there. They don't consider you. How do you respond, brothers? So, tahliyat al-maratu bihali. So, mashallah, tabarakallah, all our brothers that are married or trying to get married, imagine, mashallah, tabarakallah, you get married and you had a hard day's work and you come home and you open the door and there's your beautiful wife, mashallah, tabarakallah, she has on earrings and mashallah, she has rings on and her hair is combed and she looks beautiful. You want your wife to adore herself for you, to look beautiful for you, right? This is natural, right? Imagine a husband, he comes home, he had a hard day's work, and his wife, mashallah, she didn't get dressed, right, properly. Her hair is all disheveled. She looked like she just rolled out of bed, right? She has some crumbs of food on her. Same thing with the husband. The husband gets up, he's got some food stuck in his beard, right? Right? He didn't wash himself. He didn't put on deodorant, right? No, this is not the way. First of all, tahliya qabl tahliya. So, The scholars explain that the heart must be emptied from corruption, tahliya, and adorned with tahliya. Who would drink from a dirty cup? Did I drink from a dirty cup that day when I went to that restaurant? Absolutely not. So here we're at the end now. We have, I believe, 2 more pages. And you're going to understand this concept, brothers, that it's a deep thing, really. This is why we are encouraging the Quran to tadabbur wa tafakkur, to concentrate, to think, to ponder. The Quran is not a book only for merely recitation, but it is for implementation. So this concept is explained by Ibn Qayyim and Ibn Taymiyyah, rahmatullah alayhim. That they explain that the heart cannot hold opposites. Aqsahu wa diddahu. You cannot have falsehood and truth in the heart at the same time. You cannot have falsehood and truth at the same time. Ibn Qayyim, he mentions that the heart is like a vessel. If it is not filled with truth, haqq, then it will be filled with batil, falsehood. Your heart can't have kufr and iman in it at the same time. Your heart cannot have ikhlas and kibr in your heart at the same time. Your heart cannot have sunnah and bid'ah in it at the same time. Your heart cannot have shukr and the opposite of shukr is ungratitude, right? Or tawakkul and non-tawakkul. Either you rely upon Allah or you don't rely upon Allah. The heart is not set to have both at the same time. Or tawadi', humility over arrogance. So this is an important principle. At-takhliya muqaddima ala tahliya, that removing comes before adorning. So, what is my practice? Or get a chance, usually, to give a lecture. What I try to do is I try to go, get a nice haircut, try to get my beard lined up a little bit so I look presentable. My beard's not all puffing out here, and I got some hairs up in here. Try to look presentable. Takhliya, qablu, tahliya, right? You look good, you sound good, you smell good, you feel good, you should act good. Is that right? So if I didn't wear this and I put on a hoodie and I was out and I put on a ski mask as some of the kids are wearing now and I rocked in the street, I could walk around like a vagabond and do some stuff, as you find all over the city. Young kids, even Muslim boys, are dressing up in ski masks and hoodies, and they're going and they're robbing jewelry stores. It's happening a lot in the GTA. The only reason they're doing it is, number one, they think they can get away with it and nobody can see them. Nobody knows who they are because their identity is hidden. Remember, brothers and sisters, Allah, He knows who we are and we can't fool Allah. So here we go. The heart often goes back if someone leaves bad company but does not seek righteous company. So imagine you're around bad friends and then you went away from your bad friends. You have to go and find good friends, or else your habits won't truly change. You have to be amongst the salihin. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah used to say, "And uhibbu as-salihin, walakin ana lasta minhum." Imam Shafi'i used to say this. He said, "I love the righteous people, but I am not from amongst them." You can imagine this. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, Sayyid al-Fuqaha, one of the greatest faqirs, he said, "I am not from the pious people." So far today, we covered tasfiyah, tarbiyah, tazkhiyah, tasfiyah, tarbiyah, tazkiyah, tahliyah, tahliyah. So the last page, here we go. You cannot establish, this is a recap, you cannot establish sincerity while riyah. There'll be no ikhlas if you have riyah. Riyah is to be seen, hubbu dhuhur, hubbu jah, right? You want to be seen, you want to be heard. You're not clarifying, you're not purifying your intention for Allah. It's something that you have to work on day and night. You can't establish tawheed while shirk remains. You cannot establish shirk while tawheed remains. I'm going to bring evidences from the book and the sunnah. And this concept here is something, brothers and sisters, that, mashallah, many of the mashaykh, they have written books on the ma'na of La ilaha illallah. And if you'd ask the vast majority of Muslims what it means, we're failing. So from amongst that is the concept of nafi or ithbat. This shows you this concept of takhliya qabl al-tahliya. This is where the scholars take this from. La ilaha illa Allah. There is nothing. There is nothing. Total negation. It's la an-nafiya, la an-nahiya. La an-nafiya. There is nothing or no one. Or as the scholars, they put in another sentence, la ma'bud bihaqqin illallah. There is no object, no deity, no entity, no essence that is worthy of worship except istithna. Ilah is istithna, except and only Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is where the concept of takhliya, qabl tahliya comes from. This is very beautiful stuff, brothers. And the example from the Book of Allah, as Sheikh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah, rahmatan wasiya, he broke down, and where we get this from, it's a Quranic understanding. Qala Allah Ta'ala. Think about these words. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ, and whoever disbelieves, بِالتَّاغُوتِ. فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالتَّاغُوتِ. This is nafi, negation, takhliya, right? And whoever disbelieves in the false deities that people worship other than Allah. Again, takhliya, qabl tahliya. وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ. So you have nafi, and then you have ithbat. It is filled in the Quran and the Sunnah, these concepts. But if it's not broken down, and you didn't take the time to sit in the class and learn this stuff, it just goes over the heads of the Muslims. So if I was to take a microphone right now, and if I was to go to Ridgeway Mall, where there's lots of Muslims, and I put all the born Muslims on the spot, because they have no excuse. There is no other bijahl for the born Muslim. You have to learn your deen. The new Muslim, they have some excuse. They have to learn the deen. And I went up to the Muslim and said, what's the meaning of La ilaha illallah? There's no God but Allah. No, that's wrong. There are other alihah that people worship. There's no God but God. People, they say this. No, that's not the meaning. So we are living in a time right now where we have to realize that these 5 things, these components that we put together are very instrumental. And I would like to turn them, the Khamsa Durra, the 5 beautiful pearls, ya akhwan, for us to understand. We need to understand a tasfiyah, a tarbiyah, a tazkiyah. This is what Ramadan is for. A tahliyah, which is to removing all the bad things, and a tahliyah, which is to, mashallah, tabarakallah, make everything look good on the side. Imagine you went to your mother-in-law's house, and everybody's plate, she put the rice really nice. She put, mashallah, tabarakallah, the chicken really nice. Mashallah, tabarakallah, she put the salad really nice. She put a nice piece of bread on the side and some soup, right? But then your mother-in-law or your father-in-law or your wife or your husband came time to get your plate, and they put a big bowl and they throw everything in the bowl, they mash it up, and then they pour the soup on it and they give it to you. Think about that concept. First of all, you'd be like, huh? What's going on? Why am I being treated like this? Not that there's something wrong with the food, just how it's laid out, right? Now, in some cultures, they have things where they put it all in the pot and they mush it all together, and mashallah, it comes out good, right? Like makluba, right? Like halim, right? Like, what do they call this thing? Goulash and macaroni goulash. You put everything together, you mix it all around, you cook it, and bismillah, you get everything. It's all a one shot, mashallah, everything all together, a buffet all in one, right? But there are certain things that if you look at it, you don't want your food like that. Presentation, brothers and sisters, is something that we have to try to do better. And I'll end it with this. I went to a masjid the other day. And mashallah, the brothers were beautiful. The lecture was beautiful. The recitation was beautiful. However, when I went to this masjid, they had one really big problem. As soon as you come through the door, the beautiful Muslim brothers that came there to worship Allah, they left their shoes everywhere. Some brothers decided not to put their shoes away. They just left them in the middle of the floor when they could have easily took them up and put them away. So again, tahliya, qabl al-tahliya. They removed the harm from the ground, right? They took their shoes. If they would have put them away, everything. So anyways, one of the uncles, he fell down. Came in, he tried to step on the shoes to get his thing, and he fell down. This is aib. Aib, brothers. What Quran are you coming to hear? What masjid are you coming to when you made harm for your brother and you left your shoes in a place where one of the old uncles or one of the old aunties can fall down and trip? What kind of thing is that? Imagine now, and I'm going to end it with this, if the fire chief came to the masjid and he's seen that the shoes were displaced all over the place, come to the masjid and you can't get in the masjid. The fire chief, if he's seen that, what's possible to happen? Everybody can give me the answer? The fire chief came with a fire truck and he came inside the masjid and there's shoes everywhere. You can't get through the entrance. What is possible that can happen? Nobody wants to answer? Is that scary? Come on, brothers. What do you guys think? The fire chief will leave. No, he's got bigger powers than just leaving. He wouldn't have come. He's doing an inspection, right? He's not just going to leave. He's going to say something. He has power. He has a badge. Huh? He's going to tell you to put the shoes away? He's going to take... The fire chief is going to take the shoes and put them away. Allah yadik ya Sheikh. Allah guide you, brother. The fire chief is not taking anybody's shoes and putting them away. He has a badge of power. His badge. He's the fire chief. He has a badge. He's not picking up my shoes. He's not picking up your shoes. He has more power than that. But may Allah bless you for that. Inshallah, we need to teach the children. They don't know what's going on. What will happen? Come on, Sheikh. Give me an answer. The fire chief comes to the masjid and he sees that the shoes are all over. What can he possibly do? Huh? He can give you a big hefty fine. 500, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000. It's his discretion. Okay, what else could he do? Suspend admittance for 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, a month. He could do any of that. He is the fire marshal. He could shut down a masjid, right? So again, we're talking about tahliya, qabl tahliya, removing the harm before you can do the good. So the good is putting everything in its proper place at its proper time with the most suitable means. I can't tell you how many masajid that I've seen in the UK, in Canada, in the United States, that when you come into the facility, you have to be really careful and you have to be able to balance, okay? Like you're a martial artist, right? With techniques, right? You come in the masjid, you got to be careful. You have to be like this, right? So you don't fall down and split your head because the Muslims never put their shoes away. So guess what? My qawm, my people from my tribes in the States, what they do, the security, if they see that happen, and I've seen this with my eyes and I've practiced it too a couple times. Okay, and this comes on to Al-Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, promoting the good and forbidding the evil. Okay? We need some big, strong brothers that can implement this. I've seen brothers pick up the shoes, put one shoe over here in this stall, and another shoe over there in that stall. And they did pick up the shoes, the security. They put everybody's shoes all over the place. So when everybody comes out, they all look around for their shoes. Oh, where's my shoes? Where's my shoes? Where's my shoes?
One shoe's over here. Where's my other shoe? I gotta go. Because he didn't take 1 second to take his shoes and put it properly. Now he's got to go on the shoe hunt. Who here thinks that's extreme? You think that's extreme? Yes. The security of the masjid. They have the authority. They didn't, and they told the people over and over again, put your shoes properly. So they're not listening to the security. So the security took the shoes and put them all over. One shoe over here, one shoe over here, one shoe over here. So now you got to hunt for your shoes, right? I guarantee you, the old uncles that are here, they put their shoes in their proper place because they were raised properly from their parents, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Does it make any sense at all? Right. So let's go back now. Let's see if you guys absorb the information. What were the 5 things that we talked about today? Anybody can give them back to me. Can you give any back? Yes. Tazkiyah, tarbiyah, takhliyah. Yeah, and you're missing one. Mashallah. You did a good job. You did a good job. The first one is tasfiyah. Tasfiyah. So synonymously, some of them, they sound very close to each other. Sanitization, cleaning up, so some have to do with, this, what goes into this. Some have to go with what's into this. Some have to go with what's in the soul. This is a deep metaphysical science. You have to clean your brain from all foreign, crazy, corrupted ideologies. This is from our deen. Also, the things that go into your heart, the love of the dunya, the love of vanity. We have to be careful of what goes into our heart. And then, if you get around the wrong people, we have to worry that that will corrupt our soul. So here's my question. If somebody did a big, really bad crime and it landed them in jail, but society, the judge, the state, the law, the people, the jury decided that person has to spend 40 years in jail for that crime, right? As a penitence, right? So they have to do their time because of the bad crime that they did, and they pay their penitence, and then they come out, right? It's amazing. You can spend 40 years in jail, come back out, but then on your paper, it still says you're a criminal. So you can't go get a job, say if it's 20 years, right? Can't get a job. So why did you go to jail for? You paid a penitence. And now here's the question. This is what the Muslims, they should be understanding, that if a person goes into the jail, whether they're Muslim or they're non-Muslim, and they're able, because they have lots of time to work on their self, talk to their self, think about the things that they did, and they come out of the jail a new person, a better person, a righteous person, this is very similar to what the month of Ramadan is. Okay? It's a testing ground for us. 29 days, 30 days, for us to better ourselves, better our development. The Prophet said, he said, Kun fi dunya ka'anaka gharib or abla sabil, be in this world as if you are a traveler or you are a wayfarer, you're just passing through. We're passing through the dunya. Ramadan is passing through. We're going to pass through Ramadan, or it's going to pass us, right? A dunya sijnal mu'min wa jannatul kafir. But this dunya, for the believer, we're in a state of prison. So Ramadan teaches us a little bit of imsak, or withholding ourselves. Right now, if I fasted the whole day, and now I got maybe about half an hour before the fast, but I decide, you know what, man, I fasted enough today. Let me go out and go grab a burger right now, bismillah, and I eat it. If I go out and I grab a burger was brought to me and I ate it, hey brother, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're fasting, brother, you're fasting. What are you doing? What are you doing? Right? Because I'm supposed to fast to a certain amount of time. Then I can break my fast. So the dunya, you gotta worship Allah Azza wa Jal until you pass away. As best as you can, and clean up your hearts, clean up your minds, clean up your soul, clean up your clothes, clean up your house. There's many things for us to clean up first, and then we're supposed to build upon the good character, the good manners, the good adab, giving good zakat, giving charity, doing all these good deeds. It is a preparation for us to meet Allah Azza wa Jal, because we're going to stand in front of Allah, as the Prophet went on to say, barefoot, naked, and uncircumcised, and you're going to stand in front of Allah. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she asked the Prophet, won't the people be looking at each other? The Prophet ﷺ tried to teach her, said, no, that day is going to be more tremendous, more serious than that, Ya Aisha. It's going to be more tremendous. You're going to be worried about your account on that day. So the question comes, do we start now preparing for meeting Allah, which is our life's goal to stand in front of Rabbul Izzah? This should be scaring us. We're going to stand in front of Allah. As you know, there is Ashab al-Yameen wa Ashab al-Yasar. We hope that we get our book of good deeds in our right hand like this, of all the good that we did, and we're standing in Allah, not that we have our deeds in our back behind like this, ya ikhwan. These are concepts that we have to keep training the brain over and over and over again. So, my brave brothers and sisters in Islam, if there's any questions concerning the topic, maybe we take about 5-10 minutes for that. As inshallah ta'ala, this topic was called, it is deeper than pulling out the weeds. Yeah, ikhwan. So what weeds are we got to pull out from our own self? I seen a habit last night. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. I'm driving. I look next like this. I seen a Muslim brother. He had the Allah thing inside of his thing, and I seen him smoking marijuana, brothers, after Maghrib. Oh my gosh. He prayed all day. He fasted all day. But once the sun went down, he decided he's got to play. I was just like, oh. I was shaking my head, man. He has an Allah logo sign under his rear view mirror. Clearly he's Muslim. He had a kufi on. And I seen him smoking marijuana while he was driving. Now, I don't know. Maybe he has medical marijuana, which is a discussion between the fuqaha. He has some issues from fibromyalgia or some kind of, some type of problem. I don't know. I'm not aware of that. But when I seen that, I was just like, ah. But the thing that saddened me more, when I looked over, I also noticed in Ramadan, I'm not talking outside of Ramadan, that's another discussion. Now, when I looked like this, seen what I seen, but I was also shocked to hear hip hop music being blasted from his car. Hip hop music after Salat al-Maghrib, brothers driving around smoking marijuana and playing hip hop in the month of Ramadan. May Allah guide us and may Allah guide him. Inshallah, he's Muslim. Clearly, we've seen the signs of Islam. He has Allah in his thing. We have to realize, brothers, tasfiyah, tarbiyah, tazkiyah, takhliyah, tahliyah. Anybody here got any benefit from the class today? Put up your hand. Some brothers that never got any benefit. Anybody learn anything new here today? Anybody learn any new concepts, new words, new understandings? Anybody here learn that they need to work on themselves? Right? Brothers, I really believe this. Sisters, I really believe this. That the enemy is the inner me. That should be another class another day. That the enemy is the inner me, meaning our own nafs. That's why we say in the khutbah to Jumu'ah, right? And the evil of the soul. نعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. How many times have we heard this, brothers? A year, at least 52 times a year. Times that 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And the evil of what the soul encourages and calls to. We seek refuge in Allah to that. So I am no hero. I don't want to be a zero. I got to work on myself. And with that, هذا ما عندي وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. We've now concluded 1 hour and 24 minutes. Any questions? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times. No sale. Oh, one brother has a question. Faddal. Take off your mask, Sheikh. I can't hear you. So, Sheikh Al-Albani has a book called At-Tasfiyah wa Tarbiyah. But all throughout the Quran and the Sunnah, especially Imam Nawawi, he has a system called Riyadh al-Salihin. It's a big system. You want to plug something in, you start off with that. I believe, from my memory, the very first thing in Riyadh al-Salihin is the science, is what is known in the Usul al-Fiqh. It's called Al-Amur bi-Maqasidiha, the science of the niyyah of the heart. إنما أعمال بالنيات. Learning why we're doing things. Why? It should be for Allah, like we quoted those verses. So we start with that. There's other books on Tazkiyat an-Nas. Ibn Taymiyyah has some other scholars have some. This is really important. And one of the things that the people they complain about is that the people that are on the Quran and the Sunnah, and they're Ahl al-Hadith, and they follow the manhaj of the Salaf and the strong, that they're not people that worry about what is known as the spiritual hygiene, right? We have to purify ourselves. Why do we go and make wudu? Anybody can tell me why? This is a really important point. Why do we make wudu? What's the purpose? To make our head clear. Okay, that's a good start. What else? Why do we make wudu? Ghusl is part of it too. I just took this last week with my Sheikh. I was going over back his lectures. So wudu is part of many parts of the spiritual hygiene. So for those who don't know, there is washroom etiquette. Istinja wa istidbar. Number 1 and number 2. Okay, number 1 and number 2, you gotta learn how to clean yourself, number 1 and number 2. This is part, before you go and establish the prayer, you can't have any bow wa gha'its. Number 1 or number 2 can't be on your clothes. This is part before you go and establish the prayer. A lot of the Muslims, they don't know this, or they don't practice it, or they're not practicing it properly. Then you make wudu, right? Or maybe before that, you have to make a shower, a ghusl, right? Making wudu, why are we making wudu? Is it just ritual wudu? We just want to put cold water on our face? Why are we making wudu? Again, we're talking about takhliya, qabla, tahliya. Huh? Someone said something? So we're making wudu to purify, okay, our body, but we're also spiritually getting ready, purifying our heart, purifying ourselves to go and offer ibadah to Allah. This is why we make ibadat, right? What else? Yep. Ahsant. Wudu is also a beautiful protection, brothers. To be in the state of wudu. MashaAllah, tabarakallah. That's a class within a class. Ahsanta. That's good, brother. Now you got a point. That's a big point there. Making wudu is also a protection, ya ikhwan. Right? You're in a state of wudu. You're reading Quran. You do a hadith. You pass some gas. So now you got to go make another wudu because you're trying to be in the spiritual realm, standing in front of Allah. Right? There used to be a time, I can remember, when the washrooms were clean and there was no water, not this mushroom, but other places. Sometimes you go to the washrooms and nobody flushed the toilet. Sometimes you go to the washroom, ya ikhwani, and it's deplorable. Nobody cleaned up after themselves. You go into the washrooms, and you're like, who is in here? Some hayawanat, some type of animals were just in the washroom, and you're expecting a little 5-year-old kid to come out of the washroom, and it's an adult. And when you go in behind, the brother never flushed the toilet. So he got rid of his stuff, but he never put it away. He never flushed it away. Right? And the last point, inshallah ta'ala, there was a Muslim brother, may Allah guide him, maybe he's sick, I don't know. Maybe he didn't understand or he missed that class on fiqh. I seen the brother with my own eyes go into a university washroom, and he stood up and he used the urinal to relieve himself. And I'm thinking to myself, this brother does not have tahara anymore. He's standing up at the urinal, relieving himself. Now he's going to come and join and pray beside the brothers. Now he can contaminate and spread the fitna, the filth. That's why we get from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ in Bukhari, where a Bedouin who was uncouth, he wasn't trained by the Prophet ﷺ yet. He came from the desert, he came into the masjid, and he went in the corner of the masjid and he urinated in the Prophet ﷺ's masjid. The Sahaba were infuriated and furious. They went to go grab him. The Prophet said, no, just leave him alone. Let him get rid of his filth, right? Tahliya, qabla tahliya. The Quran and Sunnah is filled with it, but it's going over our heads. We're not catching these gems. After the Prophet said, just get a bucket of water. Just get a bucket of water and put it on the filth. And then, inshallah ta'ala, call him over. The Prophet ﷺ educated him. Tarbiyah. The masjid is not made for this. So anyways, brothers, we don't want to go too far. Any more questions? Were we able to articulate this concept? Did anybody know all 5 of these concepts before? Anybody can say they knew all 5 of them? Anybody knew 2 of them? 1 of them? 3 of them? So that's why, for us as new Muslims, the way that we were taught Islam is we were taught to learn Islam mathna wa mathna, right? Mawdu'at, subject matter by subject matter. We're told, here's a book on Tawbah, here's a book on Ikhlas, here's a book on Sajda, here's a book on Khushu'. And we started reading books on different topics to learn and understand certain conflict. Here's a book on La ilaha illallah. Here's a book on Muhammad Rasulullah. Here's a book on the Seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is a lot of information, a lot of books, right? In the madrasa system, kids, they memorize the Quran, but in terms of certain topics, they're not learning that unless they go to higher levels of understanding. That's why if you go to the Islamic schools, or you go to the madrasas, or you go to the Islamic universities, once you go into one level of education, you can branch out into Kaliyatul Da'wah, Kaliyatul Usul, Kaliyatul Quran, Hadith, different sciences, and you become specialists in that. Let us become specialists in just one thing. Getting ready to meet Allah Azza wa Jal. And as the brother said, he wanted to know how to do that. In my estimation, Imam An-Nawawi, rahimahullah, he has a very beautiful book called Gardens of the Righteous. It's a complete system from A to Z that has almost everything in it. And the book has qabul, is accepted by people in the East and the West. You can benefit from it. Who here has Riyadh al-Salihin in their house? Put up your hand. One brother has Riyadh al-Salihin. Anybody else have Riyadh al-Salihin in their house? So how are we going to clean up our nafs if we don't have the system from the shuyukh that put together the system for us to follow it? Everybody, inshallah ta'ala, if you really care about this topic, I suggest you go and you purchase Riyadh al-Salihin. With that, هذا ما عندي وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك. It's been a blessed occasion for me to see my brothers here at my local masjid, and I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to bless you and your family and to make you in a strong state of iman and taqwa, and that we all come out of Ramadan better than we were before. Inshallah, may Allah bless us all and guide us. May Allah make us from amongst those real Muslims. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.